I would want you to share with us the biggest misconceptions that are there that people have about water safety, and how do these contribute to the drowning incidents that we have in the country.
When someone drowns, they try to press the stomach because they are seeing the stomach is big, but drowning doesn't happen into the stomach.
Oh.
Drowning happens in the lungs.
We have some lakes in Uganda whereby they used to take women who misbehaved in society, somewhere in the West, and they were taken to some island. So that became a taboo that no lady would swim in that lake.
The communities where we stay, swimming is looked at as something that is fancy. People
very fancy
swimming as a form of recreation. Those who take their children to the swimming pools, they are taking them to enjoy and have fun. But this is really not just about recreation. This is a skill that they should have, because at any point in time you could end up in the waters, and you should know how to swim. Anyone can drown, but no one should.
If you can't swim, at least can you recognize drowning? Can you see someone who is drowning? And if you recognize a drowning victim, can you make a call, or can you shout for help? But in Africa, it's where we have toll-free numbers, and someone always call on a toll-free for help, and they say, hello, and they hang up on the phone. And they hang up on the phone. Where are they dying from?
There is no age limit. You can have age limit in other fields I will not mention here, but with swimming, everyone can swim.
No one is going to die because you don't own an iPhone. No one is going to die because you don't have a car. But you're going to die if you don't know what to do in case of an emergency. You're going to die if you don't know how to swim. Then I leave a question to you, Omanyoku Uga.
Hi everyone, welcome to Sauti Plus Media Hub. We have had cases of drowning all over the world, but drowning can happen to me or you. But do you know the risks? Do you know the dangers? Do you know how you can help yourself out or a loved one in case that happens? And today I have experts who are going to talk about this. And I know they have more knowledge that I would want to learn from them, and I would want you to learn and share the same knowledge with other people as we are on drowning. And we know we have a big project that is Omanyoku Uga. Personally, I leave that question to you as I dive into our guests of the day. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'll start with the gentleman. Introduce yourself and your name.
Thank you very much. Kabunga Richard, water safety instructor and a first aid instructor working with Uganda Red Cross Society.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. George William Mukasa, President, Life Saving Association Uganda, board member, Africa Life Saving under the International Life Saving, and Secretary General, Africa Life Saving. I'm happy to be here.
So good to have you. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you, Liz. I am Emmanuel Balinda, public health specialist, trained from Makere University School of Public Health, and currently the water safety and drowning prevention manager at Richard, Uganda.
Thank you so much. As we've had all of them, as I said, we're having experts here, and I'm here to ask the questions that we may not know as the public, and also to learn so that we see that we are in a better space when it comes to drowning issues, as drowning is one of the leading causes of death worldwide, and also in our Uganda, it takes lead by 33%. I don't know if you knew that, but I also just learned that of recent. Just starting with Emma, can you give us a background of the drowning prevention?
Drowning prevention is really a silent killer. It's one of the public health problems that we have in this country, but is most times overlooked because it is not a disease like you would have malaria, HIV, among others. So because of that, it is overlooked. And now I am very happy that we have this project coming up. We are trying to get partners on board who are doing work that is in line with drowning prevention. And I'm happy that we're actually having these conversations now. In the country, we have a very big deficit or a very big gap, especially in the information that is being collected around drowning prevention. Quite a lot of the deaths that happen in the water bodies that we have, them be swimming pools, the lakes and rivers, especially the open water bodies. Some of this information is really not captured. We don't have proper systems to capture this information. Therefore, the data that we have on the deaths that happen around these water bodies is not captured, which gives a very low number in line with the drowning deaths we have in the country. Therefore, not much attention is paid to drowning, especially from the communities where we stay. Swimming is looked at as something that is fancy. People
Very
do
fancy.
swimming as a form of recreation. Those who take their children to the swimming pools, they're taking them to enjoy and have fun. But this is really not just about recreation. This is a skill that they should have, because at any point in time, you could end up in the waters, and you should know how to swim. Anyone can drown, but no one should.
Coming to you, Sir George, I would want to know, based on your extensive experience, what are the most overlooked risks that contribute to drowning in lakeside communities?
Thank you very much. I'll mention maybe 2 or 3. The big thing about drowning that is along the lakeside is that most of our youth, I can say youth for per se from 14 years to 35 years, are engaged in economic activities. And of course, these economic activities are due because they need to survive, they need to live. We have so many people living alongside the water bodies, especially lakeside. One activity that is done that will probably have an impact on drowning will be people going out to do economic activities on the lake without knowledge of what they're dealing with. They are going fishing, and water safety becomes secondary. The first thing is the economic activity. So what does this mean? Is that they will go and use the water without knowing the weather forecast, and they won't know the type of vessel they're using, whether it's supposed to be recommended for such a tide or not. They will not get guidelines. They will move at night, different times of the activities, like people fishing in the night. They don't have the right gear to use, per se, life jackets, personal floating devices, of which they think they have grown up along the lake, so they know the lake in and out. They know where to land, how to go there. So they have that kind of complacent that they will be able to find their way out. So they don't use life jackets. Some even have superstitions that if they use their life jackets, bad omen will befall them.
True.
And that's important, to respect people's beliefs. But with drowning, it's one of the risks that we have, that people are adamant to use life jackets. The other one is about drinking and boating. You talked about an incident that happened sometime back in Uganda, where we had a very big boat cruise
Yes.
sank in. There was time of the day for the ship to take off, or the boat was not right. It was almost coming to dark. And that's one of the problems with navigation, where there's no visibility. So that one was a big problem, that even the boat was not seaworthy. And while you are intoxicated, the decision making is not right. So that caused the problem. And also the life jackets were not enough. So that incident gives us all the things I'm talking about. Now, besides that, on a personal note, do you know how to swim? Omanyo kuoga. Now that's where it comes in. Because of all things that are outside your control, you have one in your control. Like you said, you can go to the beach and step in. That is our swimming when we were young.
Yeah.
But is that competence? Competence doesn't mean you swim 100 meters, win a gold medal. No. It's about the 5 things. Do you know the body you're going to get into, like the lakes? Some lakes will look very shallow today, and tomorrow they will be deeper. If
Change
you do
of
not,
tides?
in the morning you can find some water body very calm and it's like 1 foot deep. Then you come back and a very big crocodile was trying to lay eggs and to waved away all the sand, and you have 1 meter. So that's another competency level. Know the water body, know how to enter the water body. Our water is very dark and causes like kind of a blindfold that you never know where you're going. That's one of the things. Unlike other beaches that are very clear along the coast, but our water is very dark, so it's very dangerous. You never know the animals that are hiding in there, and some of them are going to cause panic and you'll drown. Most people have drowned while shouting for help because they're not taught how to calm down when they're in a situation.
I even just the thought of coming down and you're surrounded
Exactly.
by water is...
Exactly. And that calls for supervision, which is another point I will bring in. Of all the 5 competencies you should know, the overall thing is supervision. There's no one that is an expert with water. Even us, we're experts, but we can never swim alone because my heart can stop. Who is watching me to take me to hospital or to rescue me? So 1, water body. 2, when you enter the water body, what do? You need to calm, balance. 3, you need to be able to swim at least 25 yards or 25 meters. Then the 5th, you should be able to swim to safety not necessarily where you came from, but somewhere to safety. Now, if you do not have the 5 competencies, then that means you're not competent to step in water, even as little as 1 foot. So from my experience, that's what I think we should have this knowledge and sensitization for people to know before I get into water, who is watching me? Do I know what I'm going to do? What if I get into trouble?
Thank you so much, Mr. George.
Thank you.
That has been a very insightful thing. I didn't know they had the 5, competences.
Yes, competence.
I have none.
You have one. The willingness.
I have supervision maybe when I'm supervised by you.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, okay.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Richard, what are the most common mistakes people make in responding to drowning emergencies?
Thank you very much. There are a lot of mistakes that people always tend to do, even competent swimmers, even the experts themselves. First of all, we have what we call panic. Yes, panic. Sometimes whenever we see someone who is drowning, adrenaline tends to shoot into the brain, and one thing that will always come into your mind is to jump in to rescue this person. So you're jumping in minus thinking of your safety. Am I safe? Why is that person drowning? You never know, it might be like an attack. Maybe something has attacked the swimmer, maybe a crocodile. Just of recent, in Tanzania, I watched a video clip whereby a crocodile took someone's leg. So, if before you jump in, before your panic pushes you into a rescue, first think of your own safety. Then the second mistake that people always tend to do is handling these victims. For example, this person has been rescued. Experts will always train you on how to do safe rescues. So not every good swimmer can rescue someone. So there are 2 different things. So if you're trained in how to rescue, then if you rescued this person, don't do this mistake of poor handling of the victim. Mostly drownings that occur on swimming pools. They involve trauma. What do I mean by trauma? Someone maybe was trying to dive, but he maybe accidentally hit the head on the floor. That's a traumatic drowning incident. So we need to treat this person, putting in mind that we are suspecting maybe head, neck, and the spine probe injury. So if you handle this person in a bad way, or you just carry, you rush, you shake them, you're doing a disservice to them. You're maybe creating further injuries. Then another mistake that we always do, at times people don't drown in water. They tend to drown in water and they survive, but we don't supervise and we don't refer them to the hospital. We just say, and these people will always go to what we call secondary drowning. That always happen in the first hour and in the 24 hours time, that range. The buildup of water into the lungs can lead to suffocation. This person can suffocate, can lose out on oxygen, and they drown. And lastly, another mistake that we do, like as experts, we forget our own safety. You want to jump in, but minus putting in mind that you need a flotational device on you. Before you go in for a rescue, you have to first look at the person's activity. What is the person doing? Sometimes Mr. George always say that people drown as if they are climbing a ladder. They are fighting with water. They think that they can come on top of the water. So if you jump in, they are going to climb on top of you because they are looking for anything that they can grab on. So you will end up also drowning.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Emmanuel. So far, what are the key milestones that you've achieved as the project's manager and as Reach a Hand Uganda?
Okay. So, of course, we have achieved quite a lot, I must mention. But all these achievements have not been seen or come in place singly by the work that we are doing as Reach a Hand Uganda. We've had quite a lot of partners. So to mention some of the outputs we've had, we are currently working on, we are in the final stages, working on the first ever national survival swimming curriculum. We have a technical working group with about 13 organizations and bodies, government bodies, which are supporting us on this. So this is in the pipeline, and we hope that when it is finalized, it will give us a united stand I can say, for all the individuals they're doing training swimming, training survival, training lifeguards, among other individuals, to equip them with the knowledge to handle the classes that they do right. So that is one of them. And then as part of the project, we hope to do swim training for individuals in the communities, the young people, but those in school and those out of school, we hope to train both. So in the districts we're going to be working, that is Masaka, Mayuge, and Rakai, we have trained a total of 46 individuals. And I must say I'm proud to have this gentleman sit close to me. Coach George, he has been very instrumental in this. He supported us in the training of these individuals. So we trained them as swim teachers or instructors, swim instructors. So they will be supporting us in the communities to train the children in school and those out of schools. Also, we've had quite a number of benchmarking visits done, and also courtesy meetings done with a number of individuals to just ensure that we are keeping all the partners and the players in drowning prevention in the loop of the work that we are doing as Reach a Hand in line with drowning prevention. We had a team sent from Reach a Hand to do a benchmarking visit in Zanzibar. There is a project called the Punjab Project, and they're doing exactly what we hope to be doing, swim instruction. And again, as Coach said, they have clear water. They have a very good training ground. They have an ocean, which we don't have here. Yeah, but the benchmarking visit was for us to see how they're doing what they're doing so that we can be able to replicate that there here. One final thing I would want to mention is with support from the Ministry of Water and Environment, we are working on launching the first ever drowning prevention strategy for Uganda. So it's a national drowning prevention strategy, and it's going to be launched in the Water and Environment Week, which is going to happen between 17th to 21st of March. I hope I'm getting that right. Yes, 17th, 21st, but specifically on the afternoon of 19th, that week, we shall be launching that document, and we hope, again, we shall be with our partners to support us in the process. We've done quite a lot. Maybe lastly, just to mention this, we have worked on a documentary. It is a drowning documentary. Thank you so much, Sauti Plus Media. You supported us on this. All the production was done by you. Was supported by Canary Mugume, the investigative journalist from NBS. We had our individuals from Sauti as well.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. It's I feel like it's always important for us to be able to bring the information in the simplest ways to the people. And being that we are a country that has the biggest percentage of young people. Back to you, Mr. George.
Yes.
What are some of the most common misconceptions that are present? Because I feel a misconception is something that I personally may be having, because that's something that we have and it's part of us. But what makes difference is that when we're educated to learn and unlearn. So I would want you to share with us the biggest misconceptions that are there that people have about water safety, and how do these contribute to the drowning incidents that we have in the country.
Thank you very much. Our first one to put across what we normally see on our roads every day. We already see that when it rains around Kampala, our capital city, there's no vehicle that wants to stop, or no boda wants to stop. They think their vehicles can go through the water. We've seen videos going around social media, people being swept away, or the four-wheel drives being swept away in the river. So this is a misconception that if you have a vehicle, it's bigger than a catastrophic activity like flash flood. So we need to obey to things that we have no control of, even when they look so small in nature. Even though it's 2 inches of water, as long as it can cover your nostrils, you can drown. So that's the first note. On the second one, it is about, you can see our age group. Someone can see us and think we are better off because we learned how to swim when we were young. We can have age limit in other fields I will not mention here, but with swimming, the law of flotation is still sufficing since this world started. So everyone can swim. What we do as experts, we as coaches here, we just train to kill the phobia and create assurance, because we are trained to make sure if anything goes wrong, we can resuscitate you. or we can prevent you. So every person can swim. At my age group, 49 years, I'm the swimming champion for East Africa in the category of 45 to 49 years. I do not even train, but I have the feeling that if I do this like this, I'll go through. So that's the beauty, that I'm still swimming and I'm a proud dad. And every time I go for a gala, my kids are waiting for the medals. But that doesn't mean I can't drown. I can if I don't swim very well. So that point comes to the element of saying, even though you are an Olympian, you can drown. So misconceptions that I've swum a lot, I've been longevity, it is not there in
I
drowning.
personally don't see you drowning.
Another thing is that Muslim women can also swim. He talked about the Punjab project, and most of it was about most of the Muslim women were not swimming because they thought you can't go and put on a costume. There was a project done in South Sudan, our neighbors here, and it's called Nile Swimmers. If you go and Google Nile Swimmers, it's a project that was started by someone to show that the ladies should not be left. So there should be a gender balance in aquatics, because the mothers take care of these kids. If they do not swim, they also tell the kids not to swim, because who will take them to swimming? Who will be by the pool? Who will rescue them when they are drowning? Every gender swims. We have some lakes in Uganda whereby they used to take women who misbehaved in society, somewhere in the West, and they were taken to some island. So that became a taboo, that no lady would swim in that lake, because everyone that was wrong was taken to that island sometime back. So those are misconceptions, that ladies do not swim in this lake. When they swim, they're going to drown. We respect the culture and the heritage, but if it comes to drowning, we put the facts right. Then other things will become secondary. But every child, every lady, every religion, they can swim. Because what we're looking up to is survival and water safety, prevention and sustaining locomotion through water. I was happy to work with Ministry of Works and Transport when they were installing the communication buoys along the lakes, and actually they're building rescue centers around the three lakes. That is Lake Victoria, Choga, and Albert. And I happened to be one of the divers that were installing the communication buoys. They are self-centered communication buoys to give us information, even when you're using a small phone with the USSD code, to let you know, is there a storm coming through? Do we have enough light, moonlight? Or are there other boats coming in? So that when they're coming in, you get to have an alarm, which will be effective, I think, very soon this year. So what does this mean? That when we have the worst color of our lakes and the worst nature of our setup, which is beauty, we tend to have more hindrances to promote safety, water safety. So we need to go and sensitize people about these places that have those hazards. But of course, you find that when you haven't sensitized the locals that use the areas, they'll think the original superstitions or beliefs are predominant. So that is going to be work in progress. We're going to merge, have a kind of synergy to see how their beliefs and our science can come together and help people survive. Because some of them have hit rocks. As I told you, alcohol also supersedes. You can have everything, and you know when the fish has to come in, but you sleep off. You drink and sleep off. So it's a multi-sectoral approach to make sure that if you're to fish in the night, do you have the right boat? Because there are fishing boats, there are transport boats, there are carriage boats. There are so many types of boats. But in Uganda, you have the same boat carrying people, carrying sand, cement. So we're working with so many partners, Ministry of Animal Industry and Fisheries. We're trying to work together so that we all communicate from all angles, because it's not one ministry that's going to solve. Our manager won't solve everything. We have a technical working group to make sure we attack the citizens to understand what we're doing at the least cost, but giving them the information, then policing for them to comply. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Richard, as we come to the conclusion of this conversation that I didn't want to come to a conclusion to, I would just want to know, in your experience as a first aid expert in this field, what are the most critical moments in drowning emergency where intervention matters most?
Thank you very much. The truth is, most drowning incidents happen silently and very quick. By the time you recognize that this person is drowning, At times, they don't even call for help, they don't shout. But as a trained personnel, where we need to be focusing, like to put more focus on, is within the 0 to 60 seconds. Those are the active, like that's the active time of drowning. Someone is fighting with water, either they are doing climbing the ladder, you're seeing and flailing, and maybe their head is tilted backwards or in front. So that's the first critical moment where we should recognize that maybe this person is drowning. We don't have to be sure that this person has drowned. We have to just suspect that maybe he's drowning. So we need an intervention. What are some of the interventions that we are supposed to be doing? Always the experts will train you that maybe throw a rope to them, throw a flotational device, talk to them if at all they can, because at times people are drowning even in the waters where they can stand. So if at all you can communicate to them, try to do everything that you can to save a life. If you missed out on the 0 to 60 seconds, now here it's when we need to do what we call resuscitation. Try to assess, is this person breathing? Are they having a pulse? If they don't have, it's now a high time of you applying the skills of first aid, of maybe giving CPR, the chest compressions, and the rescue breaths. And these are all these skills are all trained. When you're doing water safety trainings, we also train you in first aid. The team that is going to be implementing the project of Omanyo Kuga, we are trained in this, and I was part of that team that trained them. So we need to do chest compressions because someone's heart has stopped. Though still in the misconceptions and some of the mistakes that people always do in communities, when someone drowns, they try to press the stomach because they are seeing the stomach is big, but drowning doesn't happen into the stomach.
Oh.
Drowning happens in the lungs. So communities always, they try to force the water out of the stomach. Anything that enters the stomach becomes food. So we are not forcing the stomach. We are compressing the chest. Then another critical moment is after resuscitation. Maybe God has helped you and this person has recovered. We need to monitor. Within the 6 minutes, we need to monitor. Though even less. So we need to monitor because this person might go into shock. Some of our loved ones have died due to what we call hypothermia. They were rescued, but then they were left, their bodies were left exposed to the environment, to the atmospheric pressure. So they die because of hypothermia, because of shock. So we need to monitor, and then we need to always alert the medical emergency services. So we need to call these the ambulances. We need to notify a medic to come and intervene. Those are some of the critical moments that we always have to be focusing on.
Thank you so much. As we come to a conclusion of this podcast, I just request everyone to give their closing remark. But as we're concluding, I'll start with Emma. Give us your closing remarks as we get done with this beautiful conversation.
Yes, thank you so much, Liz. I am happy that now we have most of the actors in the drowning prevention sector coming together, gearing up to create what I would want to refer to as a water smart generation, or have water smart people in the country. Speaking to the skill of swimming, usually people get into the water and their first experience, because they've never been wholly as the entire body being immersed in water, there is that reaction that comes in which brings the panic. So because of that experience, sometimes people tend not to want to get back into the water. So again, as I said, ekigo ekimu tekigenda mwana kukola ki kutambula. So we want to tell people outside there that water is part of us. They say water is life, but that water can also become a problem. So that kind of experience should not stop you as a person from learning how to swim. And especially for those who are in the age where they can absorb this information, they can teach others this information. They should be able to. They should try at least to advise these individuals to send their children to go and swim, to learn how to swim, or be there when they are learning how to swim. So again, thanks to all our partners. To mention, but a few, we have Uganda Red Cross here, we have Life Saving Association here, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Works and Transport, Ministry of Agriculture, and all the other parastatals that we are working with. We are going to be doing quite a lot together in the near future. Anyone can drown, but no one should.
Thank you so much, Emma. Yes, coach.
Yeah, thank you very much. George William Mukasa, water safety expert from Life Saving Association. We're happy to work with Richard and entire community to make sure that we stop drowning in Uganda. One of our key functions is to train, educate, and sensitize masses. And our focus has been on swimming pool lifeguards. People you see around the swimming pools, we train them and certify them to take care of those lives. And now our focus is going into schools, school-going children, to make sure that we do role plays with them in water safety. Of course, we're working together with Richard to make sure we make this dream come true. We've done training with them last year, and we're still going on. What we're looking up to is to make sure that everyone learns how to swim. Someone may ask that, when do I start to swim? As early as 6 months, your baby can start swimming.
I see that in outside videos, and I was like, you people.
Exactly. So, but of course, with a specialized coach. But for average Ugandan people, you can start maybe from 2 years, because we know economically some people are coughing through those early ages. But when they have outnumbered their coughs and they can start at 2 years. And at least someone should leave baby class when they can feel safe around water bodies. Then by primary 7, one of the things you should get on top of your PLE certificate should be your swimming ability and competence. Because if you leave P7, some of us, especially the ladies I've lost so many good swimmers. After P7, they say, no, coach, we're going for other things now. Swimming is over. But at least they know water safety. So I would call for the country to make sure, as you leave primary, umanyo kuuga. To me, that's the call this year. Ask your friend, umanyo kuuga. And okuuga is the 5 competences, not Olympics. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, coach.
Yes.
Yes, our dearest expert, as we come to the conclusion, as he stated that, I looked at him and I'm like, this is wrong. Yeah.
No one is going to die because you don't own an iPhone. No one is going to die because you don't have a car. But you're going to die if you don't know what to do in case of an emergency.
Very true.
You're going to die if you don't know how to swim. Then I leave a question to you, Omanyo Kuuga. Another thing, if you can't swim, at least can you recognize drowning? Can you see someone who is drowning? And if you recognize a drowning victim, can you make a call or can you shout for help? But in Africa, it's where we have toll-free numbers, and someone always call on a toll-free for help, and they say, hello, Bafabagwao, and they hang up on the phone. And they hang up on the phone. Where are they dying from? So at least learn how to shout for help, learn how to give first aid. Those are the best things that you can always do. If you don't know how to swim, at least be an expert in giving first aid. So drowning is everyone's responsibility. And I encourage communities and my fellow Ugandans and everyone, please enroll for a swimming lesson, at least survival swimming. You shouldn't be an Olympian. You shouldn't be like a superstar in all strokes, but at least survival. You can float, you can tread water, you can swim like 20.
Even some swag.
Yeah, some swag. You black around water, and enroll for first aid classes, because emergencies will always occur at any time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm in shock for the Bafabagwao. That is, let's not be part of the people who say Bafabagwao. This is why Sauti Plus Media Hub is hosting these different spaces for us to learn. It's us to teach each other and to learn from each other's mistakes, not to be judgmental, but to see that 2025, we are better. And I'll leave the same question as everyone else. Omani okuuga. If you feel that you need to get part of this podcast, just go down onto our social media platforms at Richard Uganda and just comment. Ask for this. Ask as many questions as possible. And we see. And we can call back our experts to explain to us and have this conversation, because I feel it's more meaningful to educate the whole nation. Because at the end of it all, we may be targeting Mayuge as because they're around it. But I may go to Mulungu, and the next thing I know, I'm in an emergency room.
You're the expert.
I'm not the expert as yet. I remain as Elizabeth, aka Lizo, and this is Sauti Plus Media Hub.